Bitcoin is currently trading at $42,500. What comes next? Do we continue higher from here towards 50K, or do we get more of a correction where we drop below 40,000? In this video, I'm going to dive into the charts and share with you my thoughts and the levels that I'm looking for the next couple of weeks. If you're new here and not yet subscribed or are following my page, then subscribe down below or follow my page on Instagram. So let me dive in here and start with the weekly chart. So what we have here on a Bitstamp, we have the 50 simple moving average in blue and the 200 in red. And as you can see, we are almost at the point where we are getting another golden cross here. This is literally just 1 or 2 weeks away to get this golden cross, which is long-term, usually a very bullish signal. We had this death cross here that was just kind of a fake out. It didn't really mean anything on the weekly, keep in mind. So if we reverse this here with the golden cross, I do think for the longer term, this does signal more upside over the coming weeks and months. Now, what you can also see is Bitcoin traded just over 44,000 and it pulled back. It dropped to about 40,000, which is what I warned about in the previous video on the channel that I made several days ago, where I said Bitcoin could be looking at a 10 to 15% correction. Now, personally, I believe that we have not yet completed the downside of the correction. As I zoom more into the charts, you'll see why. Just technically, it hasn't hit the target that I'd like to see it get hit on a correction. And that also would mean that altcoins have not yet had the full downside correction potentially, where I said in the last video, Bitcoin 10 to 15% downside, but altcoins maybe 30 to 50% downside. And we have seen some decent pullbacks already on altcoins, but we may still get a little bit more. Now, ultimately, still looking here at the weekly chart, this is obviously a very strong bullish trend. We are above all the key moving averages, above the 50 and above the 200 on weekly. On the 3-day chart, we are above key moving averages. The trend is bullish market structure, meaning it is making higher highs and higher lows all the way since January of this year of 2023. Now, I still believe that the target is at least the Fibonacci golden pocket and these highs over here, so that is still somewhere between 48 and 53,000. And I believe that once this next correction or this current consolidation slash correction is complete, that we do see that move higher. Now, I also talked about on the CME chart, the futures chart that is not open 24/7 like Bitcoin is, that there is a gap at just under 40,000, actually 39,300 technically, that I would like to see get it filled before moving higher. So that would mean more downside to maybe into the low 39,000s and then further continuation up. Keep in mind also, as I'm making this, we are now on 19 December. So we are right into the end of the year. We are approaching the holiday season in the Western world, the Christmas holidays and then New Year's. We have markets that are very, very thin because a lot of the institutions and professional traders, they take this time off the markets. They actually have already for the most part of December and specifically these last 2 weeks. So market conditions and trading is usually different. There's less participants, and that also allows for more manipulation of volatility during this period. So really, in terms of trading, this is not a good time to trade at all for the next 2 weeks. You're probably better off, just taking the time off and coming back sometime early January. So what is going to be key is how is the monthly candle going to close for December? And if we get that correction now in the next couple of days, we still have room to afterwards move higher. So if we drop to 39,000, for example, and then continue and move back up to 42 or 43 for the monthly close, that would be great and potentially setting us up for continuation in January. The key is also going to be, do we get ETF approval in January, or will it be delayed to March or May, which we really don't know at this point. We'll find out. Maybe BlackRock gets approved in January, maybe they don't, right? So that also kind of opens us up to, if they don't get approved in January, maybe it's a disappointment and kind of a reason for a sell-off. But if you know me by now and you follow the channel, then everything is about the charts, everything is about the technical. So if we see weakness in the chart and we see bearish market structure and we're looking for downside, well, then we simply let the charts guide us. And then we are looking for longs on pullbacks. That is what we do in bullish trends. So you can see even here in 2020, for a couple weeks, we had that pullback and then continuation higher. So I believe we're seeing something similar at this point, somewhere between 38 and 40. I'd like to see it just drop down here and then continue higher. That would be the ideal scenario I'm looking for. Now, changing this up to the 3-day chart, this is also very important in terms of indicator. 3-day 50 moving average over here, this is currently about 31,500. That is a good line in the sand. If it gets below there, then we have to reconsider the bullish trend and maybe reconsider that the trend may have reversed. At this point in time, you know, that gives us, what does that give us? $11,000 to the downside that it could still move without invalidating that higher time frame trend. So this is great, right? As you can see over here, the entire bull market, it stays above the 3-day 50 moving average, and when it loses it, it becomes a danger. So at this point in time, about 31,500 is important. You see we have the golden cross over here, and we're just looking for higher. So it's just a patience game at this point in time. I would like to see a bit of a pullback under 40,000. I would like to see that CME gap filled and then continuation higher to, like I said, between 48 and 53. If we can flip that to the upside, then I think the all-time high is the target, and then hopefully a parabolic blow-off, which we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Could happen within months, and let's see how this goes. One level at a time. First step is this Fibonacci golden pocket, 48 to $53,000. Now, also one thing to keep an eye on is the Bitcoin exchange liquidation map. This is obviously constantly changing, but as of now, you can see the liquidations go all the way down to just about 40,500. So if we do get that drop, there's a lot of leverage longs that can be cleaned out to the downside. There's obviously still a lot of leverage shorts at the top too that could get taken out, but we have still not flipped the level that I want to see flipped for bullish continuation. So very simply put, this is a 4-hourly chart, and you can see over here this level, I want to see that flipped. If we are going to be bullish, we need to get above and actually a little bit higher, say 43.5. That's the level I want to see flipped. If we get above there, then I think the chances of us continuing to 48 or 50,000 become a lot higher. Until then, though, we've had this this support level turn into resistance, equal highs over here, and you can see this level over here has not been taken out yet, and that would coincide with around about just under this 40,000. So I am looking for this still, ideally something like this, and then continuation higher. That would be great. And then what I'm looking for is a sweep of these lows, and then a reclaim over here. So we would do something like that, stop at the lows, and then target continuation, and that gives us a nice swing long entry setup. By the way, if you are not yet a member of my VIP membership, I am increasing the price by $1,000 on December 28th. That is just permanently an increase in the membership price because it is completely worth it. And I want to be able to focus more on helping existing members. So by increasing the price, it reduces the amount of people that come in. So then I have more time and energy to devote that to current members. So if you want to lock in existing prices and save $1,000, sign up before December 28th. The link is in the description down below. You have a full 60-day money-back guarantee. You get access to everything. If you're not happy within 60 days, simply request a refund and you will get that. But on December 28th, the prices will increase by $1,000 and will stay that way throughout 2024. Just a quick look over here on Ethereum. I want to share this setup with you also, is what we have over here. We have this fair value gap inefficiency. You can see over here when it came up, it perfectly filled that, dropped back down into this range as you can see over there. And what has happened? We have still rejected at the top of the range. So for me to get bullish, I want to flip this to support. So I want to see this get above 2260. That was the condition. We got rejected here. So I do think this low hasn't been swept. This one hasn't been swept. So what I would like to see is a sweep of the lows like this and get below there, below 2100. How deep it goes, I'm not sure. There's still a bit of an inefficiency there. So, you know, maybe it drops something like this. And then after the reclaim over here, I want to long that for continuation up to potentially 2900 or 3000. That would be the idea. If we can get that, that would be great. And it's a similar type of setup to what we see in Bitcoin. So we drop below it and then continue higher. that would be ideal. I will be updating these setups in real time in VIP in Discord. So again, if you're not yet a member, price increase by $1,000 on December 28th at midnight. So come and join us, lock in the current membership prices, save $1,000. The link is in the description down below. You have no risk, okay? You can come and join, be a part of everything, go through everything. If you're not happy within 60 days, ask for a refund. You will get all your money back, no strings attached. But if you sign up now before December 28th, you save yourself $1,000 and you can get started right away and join the community. So the link is in the description down below.